The Captain Dean Show.
All right, it's time for part 3 of the Nate Squire Bass Hoppus Restoration Fix-It video. In this episode, I'm going to try not to talk so goddamn much. So it's time to move on from part 2 to part 3, which needs wood filler. Let's do the wood filler part. Wood filler. So in this case, all I need is the Gorilla wood filler and a cardboard square to make sure the surface is clean and dust free, but I just do a quick wipe down on everything. It's like cake icing. I love cake icing. While it's a little damp still, I'm going to sprinkle some wood chips into it just to kind of help harden that up a little bit more with some of this stuff. I've done this before and it worked out pretty good as well. Smooth it down a little bit, get all the chunks out. Then I'll go back on top of that with the wood putty again. This time I'll just add it to my finger to push it into the openings that I can see. Especially around the edges, you definitely want to get that flush. I kind of like using this tube a lot better than the canister. And I'm just gonna layer it on. So I've got the surface on the top part. The jazz pickup area has been covered over with wood putty. The area that needed to be filled and covered up completely so that the pick guard fits perfectly accurate. Those two areas have now been puttied, and so I'll let that sit and dry. The next step I'll do is I'll just go over all of these holes to make sure that everything on that is sealed as well. Alright, now the original pick guard holes have been filled with wood putty and flattened out. The next step will be to plug the original input jack hole, get that filled up, and then I can move on from that. So that the hole is covered up, and by using the shielding tape, it's really thick and strong, so it shouldn't budge. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to inject some wood putty into here, like so. And then I'm going to take some wood shavings and sawdust, or whatever the fuck you want to call it. I'm going to shove that in there real good. I'm going to top it off with some more wood putty and just fill it up. Pack it in as far as you can go. Dab some more wood chips on top of that. And just try to surface it even. And that should seal the deal. That should take care of everything. Get it right where I want it to be. Sprinkle some shavings, just pat it in there. It's okay for this one to bulge up a little bit because I want that curve in the sanding. I want that to go down and become a perfectly smooth body on the outside, so you won't even know that this was here. Everything is ready to start drying. This is already feeling pretty good. This hardening a little bit already. So I think I got everything just where I want it. The height is just enough puffed up that when you sand it down, it'll become smooth. The whole surface will be smooth. You won't even know these holes were once here. Looks like the forecast was true. We got us a major winter storm going on out there. So looks like I'm going to be trapped at home for a little bit. But that's all right, because this wood putty, wood filler, has been setting for over 24 hours at this point. It is time to check it out, see how it's looking, and it's looking good. The first thing I'm going to do before I get started on sanding is I'm going to test my theory to make sure the pick guard is going to fall exactly where I need it to fall. And apparently I nailed it perfectly. You can see right there, if the neck was on, that should be where it is going. So put a little mark around here, and that is where the edge of the pick guard will fall. I nailed it. I got just enough room to fill it up. The bolt will go right around here, so there's plenty of wood chips and wood filler in that area so that it will anchor down really good. The toothpick area has held up just fine. I usually leave that. I usually don't take that out. Obviously with the epoxy and now the wood filler, it has probably locked that down. So I just leave that alone anyway. I clean this area out and put a new strip of shielding tape around that anyway. So based on that, that is excellent news. The screw hole goes right there. So everything I needed to do on this turned out exactly the way I needed it. And there's plenty of room here for the input jack to be without having any kind of interference with hitting anything. If that was to go right in there, that is the area where it would be going. So there's no need to worry about anything like that. So everything looks good right now. The pick guard's going to fall exactly where I need it to go. Everything's been puttied and ready to sand. So I no longer need that in my area to check on things. Looks like I am done with the wood putty. Of course, once you start sanding, areas might come up in clumps. Hopefully it doesn't, but the sanding part should come out smooth. But just in case, if anything happens to come out, you can always just dab a little bit on there, let it dry, and sand it back down. So as of right now, this is how things are looking. It is time for me to start sanding. I've got my mask and I've got my 4-pack of sanding blocks. Now I'm going to use the sanding blocks because 1, they're flat, and 2, they've got some cushion. So when you're in these areas, especially around here where the curvatures are, around the edge of the body, around the arm area up here, these really come in handy. But they're also something you don't have to put a lot of force into. You can just kind of lightly glide over the area so that it becomes smooth and you're not tearing into it. So I'm ready to start sanding. It is snowing outside. There's an ice storm apparently coming with the snow. I could be trapped in my house for a couple of days, so it's unfortunate I can't paint this, because if I could, I would easily sand this entire body and take it straight to the paint shack and paint this damn thing, or at least primer paint it. But unfortunately, I can't do that because it is 20 degrees outside, and therefore my garage is probably 10. So it is at this point on the body, and it is time to move on to the next step. maybe the future color of this Jaguar is inside that box of paint from Alan Corona. Hmm. Hmm. Do any of these colors look good with this pickguard? Okay. The uh golly. Whew. Hoot nanny. Everything has been filled, sanded. The body and everything has now been sanded with 60 grit and 80 grit sandpaper. So the next step for me would probably be about 100, 110, I think it is, or maybe 220. Um, I don't go above 220 because then it's too smooth for the paint to stick to. In this particular case, it is possible that I might go up into the hundreds and sand it all the way around and then primer paint it and then let that set for a while and then sand it in smoother finishes from that point. I need the paint on here so that all of these areas get fully covered and smooth sanded all the way around so that it's consistent and none of this is visible at that point. It is January. It is snowing outside. It's actually snow and ice. We're in the middle of the great January 2026 winter storm, and there is nothing more I can do on this. I am Captain Dean. This is the end of episode 3. I will be back for episode 4, A New Hope. A new hope for this Hoppus base. It's going to look great. I just need to get a primer coat on it, start sanding that smooth, and then it's going to be ready for paint. So it could be a couple of months before episode 4 comes out, but you guys are used to waiting years for your favorite things to come along. And since the Captain Dean Show is one of your favorite things, you won't mind waiting for a little bit. So until everything is prepped and ready for this to move forward, I hope to have some more episodes of the Captain Dean Show soon. I don't have any clue what I'm going to be talking about, but whatever it is, I'm sure you will enjoy it. Bye! 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 Do 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 ba do 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 ba do 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 boo boo ba ba da ba 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 do 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 ba one ba 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 da ba ba da 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 ba ba da ba ba da ba ba do 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 ba 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 do 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 ba do 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 do